Welcome to the Entrepreneur Experts Cafe, sponsored by Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel. I'm Kimberly Hobscheid, your host and the creator of the Facebook community, Entrepreneurs Rocket Fuel. It's a community by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs to get entrepreneurs and experts to the next level. Come join the community at www.entrepreneursrocketfuel.com/Facebook and join the conversation. Today, I'm talking to Kimberly Weitkamp. Kimberly is an expert on getting the word out about who you are and what you do. Kimberly, welcome to the Entrepreneurs Experts Cafe.
Thank you so much for having me here, Kimberly. Great name, by the way. And I'm really excited to be here.
Absolutely. So I know a lot about you and you're a good friend of mine, but our audience does not. So share a little bit about your background. How did you sort of come into this world? How did you emerge as an entrepreneur? And tell us a little bit about what you do.
Absolutely. So I'm a conversion copywriter and marketing strategist. Basically, that means I write the words that anybody who needs to get their message in front of the right people put out. I got started, I kind of stumbled across marketing and copywriting. I found a program to get certified and I was like, oh, that sounds fun. I'll do that. I was traveling the world at the time, looking for something that I could build a business on. I dived in and with the copywriting thing, I was like, I like the writing, but I also like all the different parts that go into it, all the marketing. And I just kind of became a marketing uber nerd and started reading pretty much anything I could find. And I still like to keep up to date with pretty much everything that's going on. And I just combined all of that into the marketing strategy and the copywriting bit, because for me, at least, copywriting does not exist in a vacuum. You need all of the other stuff and understanding to make it work well.
Well, that brings up a really good point. So when you're working with somebody and you work with clients to do their copy for them, is that usually it, and set up a strategy for them?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. First off, I got to say I hate copywriting, so I'm really glad you're here in the world. You're awesome. Secondly, when you are writing copy for somebody, I bet it's a lot like sort of like ghostwriting, where you have to get to know their personality first. Is that right?
Absolutely. In fact, I did a training on how to write in someone else's voice. I was trained by the person who's like behind the big names like Ramit Sethi and Jeff Walker. And it's a middle-aged woman who writes for them. So, being able to capture someone's voice is such a huge part of writing for entrepreneurs because so much of their brand and so much of what they do is driven by who they are. So anything they put out into the world really needs to sound like them and create that experience of somebody working with them before they actually work with them.
That's a really good point. So what do you think most people screw up in copywriting? What do you think is their biggest mistake that they're making in copy?
The biggest mistake in copy is probably twofold. One would be they're not doing their research because they think they know everything there is to know about what they do, which they do, but they forget that their audience doesn't know everything about what they do.
Ooh, yeah, well said.
So a lot of people, when they're creating copy, it's from their perspective of what do they need them to hear before they can work together. And what it needs to be is from their customer's perspective of, well, what do they need to know before they're ready to move forward for that next step? So a lot of people, they're so close to what they do, they kind of forget that their audience isn't as far along. So they'll use terms they don't know. They use ideas and thoughts they haven't had yet. They use frameworks that maybe they haven't heard of. So people kind of get lost reading that copy because they're not sure. They don't have the background information to really make it make sense.
All right. You said it was twofold. Is that both of them there?
So the part one is, not doing your research, not coming at it from the customer's perspective. And then one of the things that amazes me is a lot of people, especially online, right? We're all about providing value, providing content, providing value, providing content. And we forget to ask people to do something. Including a call to action is incredibly important, and knowing what your call to action is before you create any piece of copy, because you need to know where you need people to go next before you can move them from where they are to where you want them to be.
Yeah, I think somebody told me that a website should have one main point, like every page should have one main point and not like a variety of different things. And I was like, I don't know, I like options. I'm an options kind of person. And they pointed out that Google basically has one bar. That's all you're supposed to do. And so like when you go to Google, you know exactly what you're supposed to do. There's not a whole bunch of like distractions or anything. It's just like, this is what we want you to do. Tell us what you're looking for, And I was like, that's a really good point. So I guess definitely same thing. Just have one main point and don't say, oh, and by the way, we also sell bicycle seats. And oh, by the way, also hiking gear kind of thing, right?
Definitely, because what happens when you give people like 5 or 10 different options is analysis paralysis. They have so many different options, they don't know what to do, and they do nothing. So really, everything you create, have that one goal only, and then it's a really easy next step for them to say, oh yeah, that's me. And we've talked before, I think you've got like the 2 options on your website. Are you a recorder, or are you somebody who wants your book recorded? That's still a single question, tell me which one fits you. But you don't want to give them like, oh, you can do this, and then you can do this, and then you can check out my Facebook group, and then you can subscribe to this, and then I've also got a free gift for you, like too many different things. It just confuses people, and they're not really sure what to do next. They're like, oh yeah, I'll think about it, and then they never come back to it.
Mm-hmm. So copy can be in a variety of different things. We actually just talked about copy in like emails and also copy on your website. Do you also do copy for social media and things like that?
I've helped people create like their overall strategies for social media, because social media is a part of what I call your marketing mix. You don't want to be just on any one channel. You want to be in several different places so that you have more opportunities to get in front of the right people. So social is a part of that. I don't tend to do just like the regular daily social media posts, but coming up with overall themes, coming up with how it can tie into your overall strategy, I do help people with that. Social is very involved, and it's its own job, right? You need like one person to do all the social media management and creation and stuff, because you need to really have that regular daily interaction. That's the way social media works well, is if you're there and you're having a conversation, because if it's all automated, then you're not creating that first step conversation with your audience.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. I can definitely see that. All right. Well, when you help a customer, like usually where are they? And then maybe you can share with us some success stories you've had with customers that you've worked with.
Absolutely. So a lot of my customers, they've been in business for a little bit. They've got like that first offer figured out. They're starting to grow their list, and now they're ready to build a community around what they do and grow bigger and beyond that very first starting stage, right? You've got the basics figured out, and now you're ready to grow. And what I help people do is I help them grow the interaction and engagement with the list they already have, and then create that long-term relationship with everyone new who comes in. So one of my big success stories, I love talking about this, is one of my favorite projects is creating lead generation funnels, which for those of you who are not in the marketing world, basically that just means getting new people onto your list. So you get like a landing page, that's where you direct them online. They download something that's called a lead magnet, and then they receive their first few emails. And that's called a welcome series. So creating welcome series, I've helped people get up to like 80% open rates on their welcome series.
Holy moly.
If you're not in the world of marketing, average open rate right now for entrepreneurs is like 10 to 15%. So if you can create that level of engagement from the very, very beginning, then even if they don't open every message, they're going to keep looking for you in their inbox. So you want to create that engagement and create that interest really early on so that they're ready to become your raving fans further down the line.
So open rate is usually based on your name and the title, the subject line, right? So
Yes.
Are they going to open it because it's from you, and are they going to open it because it has a compelling title? Is that right? How do you
Correct.
pick a compelling title that doesn't sound like everybody else's titles?
So, it depends on the goal of your email. If we're talking about welcome series, we're talking about, you want to deliver on exactly what you promised. So that first message, it's going to be straightforward. It's not going to be a different style of name. It's like, what did you promise them? You promised them a lead magnet that says 5 steps to getting healthier. Then you want that subject line to say, here's your download 5 steps to getting healthier, or something like that, because they don't know who you are yet. So that first message, you need to really catch them with the subject line, so you can start to build the trust. That name, it means they're going to promise they're going to give me what they promised. And then beyond that, subject lines it's a hit or miss, but subject lines very much you want to test. So having 2 options, figuring out what is most intriguing and most compelling to your audience. I'm a big fan of not using what they call case. So every single word is capitalized. I don't like that. I like thinking of it, I'm talking to a friend. So if you want somebody to open the message, you want to give them a brief idea of what's inside. And it's not going to be like proper sentences and everything. It's just going to be a couple of words like, oh, I've got this great calendar smoosh story. Or, something that
I don't know what that is, but I would open that. I would definitely open it.
You would open that. Yeah, that's an email I sent out to my list a couple weeks ago about how all of the days seem to be blending together. And they can relate to that. And then, of course, you're going to relate that to whatever you want them to take that next action. So when creating subject lines, just think a little bit outside the box, but also make it so they can kind of get an idea as to what's inside so that they will open instead of just something really random.
Perfect. All right. So if people want to get in touch with you, and because clearly you're the expert on copy and you really know what you're doing and you've helped others, how can they get in touch? What's the best way for people to reach out to you?
Absolutely. The best way is to go to the website, theaudienceconverter.com. They can learn more about me and what I do. I'm also on Facebook, facebook.com/audienceconvert. That's the Facebook page. And, I'm really interested always in hearing what people have to say, so they can get in touch with me there. Also at contact@theaudienceconverter.com for email. Give me a straight message.
Okay, great. So it's theaudienceconverter.com and it's contact@theaudienceconverter.com. Is that right?
Yes.
Awesome. And I'm pretty sure that you have some cool copy on there and maybe even some freebies if you guys want to go check out that website. So Kimberly, thanks so much for being here and carving time out of your day. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
Before I let you go, I got to ask, are there any final words you have for our crew?
Absolutely. Remember that, you want to convert your audience from strangers to loyal fans. And the best way to do that is to be you in your marketing. You don't want to create that disconnect because if somebody gets a message from you and it doesn't sound like you, and then they're ready to work with you in a coaching program and your approach is completely different, they're going to be really disappointed. So remember to be you. It's okay. There's no right way to send messages. It's be you in your marketing first.
Be you and your marketing first. Great message. All right, folks, this is Kimberly Hobscheid with the Entrepreneur Experts Cafe. This was Kimberly Weitkamp talking all about copy. She did a great job. Super glad to have her here. And we'll see you next time on the Entrepreneurs Experts Cafe. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. We'll see you next time. Cheers.